Hi, this is Chris Woodward. I'm executive editor for Sport Fishing. I'm here today with Captain Moe Newman, saltwater fishing guide out of Venice, Louisiana, and a co-owner of Journey South Outfitters. Also, Captain Debbie Hanson, who's a freshwater fishing guide out of Estero, which is in Southwest Florida. And she fishes too. Today, we're going to be talking about what it's like to be a fishing guide and about these women's perspectives on taking other women fishing. Mo, why don't you tell me a little bit about the fishing that you do and what kind of boats you operate on the water?
All right. So being in Venice, Louisiana, if you don't know, we have a very diverse fishery, everything from bass to blue marlin. And with my operation, I'm able to capitalize on it all. So I do run a 27-foot CV as my bay boat where we do target bull reds. Then we'll take that shallow water rig fishing for triple tail, mangrove snapper, cobia, red snapper. That list could go on. And then I have my pride and joy Mojo, which is a 39 CV, which takes me to all my offshore stuff. And again, that could still be your mangroves, cobia, but it'll bring you into the yellowfin tuna, your wahoo, mahi to blue marlin. And it's where I'm just in a very unique area where I can be a guide in all these, different fisheries in a sense, because it's in one, and being able to know it all and be somewhat decent at it. That's, my biggest challenge is keeping up with it all.
Being in sportsman's paradise, you kind of have to bring it, don't you?
Yeah. You better show up with your A game because, I'm competing against with some of the best guys down here that can do it all. But I find it's just unique because one day I'm catching bull reds and the next day I'm, live baiting for blue marlin. And so it does keep you on your A game.
Sweet. Debbie, how about you?
So I fish down here in Southwest Florida, primarily focusing on small inland lakes and canal systems. And I've got a very modest setup. I have a 15-foot tracker topper. It's just a john boat with an 8 horsepower Mercury on the back, but it lets me get into all those nooks and crannies and kind of out of the way places. And it's definitely, far from fast and furious, but it's perfect for the areas that I fish. And, it's great for trailering. I trailer anywhere from Cape Coral, which is north of me in Estero, all the way out to the Everglades. And so given the fact that I'm trailering every day, it's just a great setup, super lightweight and easy for me to get from point A to point B.
It's wonderful to have that kind of mobile operation. And you two come from really different perspectives in the fishing world. So I'm glad we have both of you here today. And I noticed that we all decided to wear the same color, which I don't know. Did you say great minds? Is that right?
Yeah, it brings our eyes out.
Oh, that's right. It's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Why, Mo, why did you want to become a fishing guide? And what was the process like for you?
Fishing for me, just pretty much every fishing guide, I would say it's what we did as a family. It's what I knew every weekend growing up, and it's what I learned to love. And I kind of felt it was my job to pass it on. In so many years of fishing, I found there are people that don't have the dads or the moms that fish, and they look for avenues to fish. And I knew, I had the knowledge and the background to do it. So I just felt that's my calling to, get on the water and kind of pay it forward in a sense and be a guide and help people get out there that want to do it. And that's, I would say, why I wanted to become a guide. It's just, it's where I found happiness and seeing people succeed and do, bucket lists, never thought I would guide people to bucket list fish. You can't make up our story, me and Eric's story. It kind of just is like serendipity. It just happened. 2008 is when Eric and I started fishing together. We kind of had this vibe with us, the fishing, and then he had the culinary part of it, and people were starting to ask us to run their boats for them, or we're coming to Venice. Can you and Eric hop on the boat, drive the boat, handle everything, take me fishing? And just years of doing that kind of led us to where Journey South started. And we kind of just, I would say, fell into it. The situation was there. The opportunity presented itself for the concept of Journey South to take place. And that's what really got me into guiding. Because other than that, I was just, yeah, sure, you could hire me to run your boat. No big deal. It's just something we did. And we
Yeah.
never thought that it could be like a business. So when the whole concept came about, and it's like, wait, we really can be guides. We really can do this. So I would say, 2014 is when Moe became a professional guide. But to me, it was just every day. It was nothing new. I did it already, but now I have a name behind it, Journey South Outfitters.
Yeah. So it was a sort of a gentle transition from fishing, helping others, and then guiding. And
Yeah.
that's a fairly natural process. What about you, Debbie? What was the process like for you, and why did you want to become a guide?
Well, to start off with why I wanted to become a guide, my grandfather used to take me out fishing from the time I was, 5 years old. So I just had so many wonderful memories of being on the water with him. And fishing was the one thing that always brought my family together. It seemed like, life would take us in different directions. My brother is 6 years older than I. So we didn't have a whole lot in common because there were so many years between my brother and I. But the one time we all got together as a family and that gap kind of closed was when we were out on the water together. Fishing was just one of those things that always, no matter what was going on in life, it just allowed you to decompress. And so for me, when I started my career as an outdoor writer, actually, and started doing weekly blog posts for Take Me Fishing. And then unfortunately, both of my parents were diagnosed with cancer, and it was a big wake-up call. And I started thinking back about all those memories of growing up, spending time with my family, and said, life's too short not to do what you love. So I kind of just expanded upon my outdoor writing and decided to start guiding, and went through the process of getting my captain's license and setting up my business. It was definitely challenging at times because captain school is a lot of work, as I'm sure Mo knows too. And it's a big time investment, and it takes you time, especially when you're fishing different waterways, to really get dialed in to all the patterns. And I focus on largemouth bass and peacock bass specifically here in Southwest Florida. So different times of the year, those two different species are active, or there's different times of the year when those two species separately are targeted primarily here on this coast. Yeah, it's a process. It takes time, but I think, the one thing that always stuck in my mind is that when my grandfather used to take me fishing when I was young, it was never a question of, hey, Debbie should be inside playing with Barbie dolls. He just got me out on the water and we just did it. So I hope that on some level, it's showing other women out there that, hey, you can get out there and do it too, because fishing knows no gender.
So there are a lot of things about being a successful guide that are involved in the process, including trying to gain sponsors, competing against other guides, is there anything different about that from a woman's perspective, like when you approach sponsors or when you are dealing with fellow guides that might be 99% men? Were there any challenges, or are there any challenges involved in that?
In my perspective, I find I didn't have really any major hurdles coming into my fishery as a female guide. Everybody was pretty open-minded about it. And I guess just the time that I had in Venice already, and the people already knew in Venice, it was just Mo was one of the guys. I was out there, hanging with the best of them and just, being a part of it. So I did not really find any challenges on that. Like when I wanted to become a guide, having the acceptance. I guess another part of it is just like the boats that I was running at the time. People would look at the boat and then you would see a female, and then it was like, holy crap, here's a chick running the boat. She must be whatever kind of word they want to put with that. And so I think just by me being presented in these boats, the respect was right there, written on the wall for them. It's like, okay, she must have some type of confidence or knowledge to be running a quad motor boat in the marina, in the Gulf, in the river, in the fog. So for sponsors, like I never approached any of them. Just through, like the history of fishing down here, people wanting to come to Venice, we would always take people fishing with us. And all the brands that I use today were brands that I first picked up many, many years ago. I already had, like, I like the Shimanos, the Yetis, the Costas, the Afcos. That was stuff that was already a part of me. And so going into like the business's journey south, we already knew the people in the industry. It takes years of building a relationship. And I think we had this from 2008 all the way to when we started, all those years of knowing them, they knowing us. I know their beliefs. Everyone we align with, I believe in who they are, what they do, and they believe in us. More like very conservation minded. We try to be stewards of the sea, try to keep a sustainable resource, and all the sponsors that we partner with all have the same views and values as we do. So the sponsors just all kind of fell into place. So sponsors they came, everything fell in its place as we went. And it was, I never went out and didn't have to go to ICAST to go sit down and talk to people. It was more say hi again, see everybody's faces if they didn't make it down to Venice.
Yeah, so it's a lot of networking basically, and
yeah,
keeping in touch with people and people coming to fish with you and that type of thing. What about you, Debbie? I mean, what has the experience been like? I mean, like Moe said, people see her operating, the big boats, throwing the cast nets, doing all that kind of thing. And it's kind of automatic respect. And to a degree, I mean, some of that is that, you have to start somewhere and you have to learn all that and you have to get good at it. No more than, I guess, a man would. I mean, a man has to learn the exact same things. He has to prove himself. I mean, do you feel like that was the case for you, Debbie, or how did your transition happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think with any business that you own, people are going to qualify you. They're going to ask you questions. They're going to want to see that you produce results when you're out on the water, that you can consistently put people on fish. I mean, it's a completely different situation. Any one of us three being out there on the water catching fish versus being able to consistently put other people on fish, regardless of their skill level and their ability level. Sure, I think that initially people are going to question, or maybe they're just going to want to watch you for a while just to see what you do. They're going to ask other people about you, but you know what? I wouldn't expect anything less. And I want people to hire me, not because I'm a female guide. I want them to hire me because I'm good at what I do. And I put people on fish and they have a good experience with me. The experience for me has been really overwhelmingly wonderful. I mean, I've had probably, more of the men that I've met in the fishing community have been supportive of me than anything else. I mean, people like George Poveromo, good friend of mine, Joe Mahler, Crazy Alberto Nee, Captain Alex Dolinsky, my husband, who's a saltwater guide. They've helped me and mentored me in so many ways, and I'm so grateful for that. So really, they've helped make the process a lot easier and a lot more seamless. And you're always going to have somebody who's not going to agree with your style, or you're going to have a naysayer or a critic, but I think it's how you handle it. And just the fact that you're getting out there and, let those naysayers or any critics fuel you just to even do better at what you do when you're out on the water. And soon people are going to realize that you're not just paying lip service to it, that you're actually making things happen out there and giving people those wonderful experiences, which is what it's all about. Yeah. And then just to touch on the sponsors, exactly like Moe was saying, I think most all of the relationships that I have came out of just me really believing in a certain product or building a relationship with a certain company. And those things just kind of happened organically. It wasn't anything that I went out there and reached out to these people. It was just maybe meeting somebody at ICAST and having a conversation, or an introduction made through someone else, a mutual contact. And things just kind of all came together. So I feel really blessed and fortunate.
Cool. How many women do y'all generally see on the water? How often do you take women, and are there things that you do to encourage women to want to fish with you? And what would you say to women out there? I know that's a four-pronged question, a lot of things right there, but just kind of the general theme of women on the water. What about you, Moe?
All right. So let's say I run probably an average of 200 days on the water. And I would say probably out of 120 days, there's women on these trips. Pretty much Eric and I kind of got our clients where everybody now brings their wives, brings their daughters, or it's company events. And now the women are involved and going. Now guys are wanting to bring their wives because they see there's another another woman guide out there doing it and make her feel comfortable. And I do believe it's a huge comfort factor to bring your wife, your daughter along and not, on a all guys trip. I break that whole guy thing where, oh, there's a woman here, you can, side with her and she'll help you out on the women things that, we don't know about on the boat. And so I feel having, just being a female guide, it gives them that comfort level of just being out there on the water. And each year I work hard to do women's workshops. And the past 3 years, something or another has happened. I am partnering with some of my brands, and we are going to do women's workshops down here in Venice, hosting probably 4 girls each time, and everything from a basics, which would be to your boats, your trailers, backing up to like your intermediate anglers who know the boat part of it, to let's make them a better angler. So I'll have different levels of courses that I'm gonna do down here with women, because I understand everyone is not all on the same page in this game. And so just the little things to help them when they go out with their significant other, their dads, to make the trip more enjoyable. I want to be able to teach them, because when I tell a woman something, it comes across different than if her husband were to tell her. That's what I'm trying to do to help more women get on the water and make their experiences enjoyable.
Any particularly really great memories of taking a woman fishing, or any awkward memories of taking a woman fishing?
Some of my best trips really were with women. I had these twin sisters that they were graduating high school. Mom and dad took them on their graduation trip to come down here and catch their first yellowfin tuna. One sister is slowly going blind. I don't know the name of the disease, but it could happen kind of any day, her blindness. Eric and I come up with this great plan. We head out, we go fishing, they each catch their first yellowfin tuna, each an hour battle, harnessed up, fighting it on stand-up gear. They each land their fish. We try to go for one more, and we end up hooking a bigger 160-pound class yellowfin. She fights all by herself. Again, we have the greatest graduation photo of both of them on the back of the boat with their fish, and I made the mom bring their caps and gowns. As Eric and I are heading home, we look at each other, and the name of the rig we were at was called Blind Faith.
Oh, wow.
So when we tied all that together, I was like, holy shit, we just had this amazing day. And of course, with the situation at hand, and the name of the rig's Blind Faith, yeah. Like how does that happen? And then I have a group of women that we do this tuna tagging tournament where we conventional tag yellowfin tuna, and we compete against like another 8 or 9 charter captains. And last year they caught 156-pound big eye tuna on a vertical jig, like a bait setup. And all 4 of these girls went through it, and they were so excited. After it, they're crying, and it's just to see them, just the emotions, that are expressed when great things happen. That's kind of, when we have all these girls on board, that's what happened. And we blare Shania Twain, Man, It Feels Like a Woman. That's like our theme song.
Theme song, yeah.
And so, I try to make it fun for them. And so a lot of good memories are with the girls on the boat.
Sweet. Debbie, what about you?
Yeah, I'm starting to see a lot more women book trips. And what's really exciting to me is seeing a lot of mother-daughters book trips, and also, just women booking trips for a girls' day out on the water. They just want to get out and learn more about fishing. And I think one silver lining of the pandemic has been the fact that I am seeing a lot more couples getting out on the water together as well, just really wanting to learn as much as they can about fishing. Maybe they fished when they were younger and they lapsed from the sport, but now they're interested in getting back into it because fishing is one of the things that they feel like they can do now safely outdoors. So it's great. It's super exciting. And I think that, it's wonderful to have women and men on board who are just really inquisitive. They want to ask a lot of questions because they want to know more about the fishery. They want to know more about the techniques so that they can go on their own and get out there and, fish solo if they want to, or take their daughter out fishing. In fact, I had one of my favorite memories was probably from last spring when I had a mother book a trip with me, and she brought her 6-year-old daughter, and she just wanted to learn how to tie knots and rig lines and get out there and catch bluegill and bass with her daughter, even though, the mom had never fished before. So just a lot of really, wonderful things, and a lot of newcomers to the sport, which I think is fantastic, at least from my perspective over the past 2 years. So that's just really great to see. And I hope that trend continues.
Well, is there anything that we haven't covered that y'all would like to talk about?
I think from my perspective is something that I think about a lot, is just being really mindful of a lot of the stereotypes that are out there with regards to, a lot of times I hear people say, oh, well, women are just always so patient. And when women are on the boat, they do exactly what a guide tells them to do. I think people mean well by saying some of those things, but when it comes down to it, we're all individuals, right? And I've had men on my boat that have been very patient and that, haven't horsed fishing. And I've had women who have, who have horsed fish. So it's an individual situation. I hear a lot of the, oh, well, women are patient thing. And like I said, I think really it comes down to appreciating everybody as an individual versus kind of lumping us together and saying that, oh, well, women are just better anglers because they're more patient and they're going to listen to what the guide says all the time. Because
right, yeah,
I'm sure Moe can probably agree. She probably doesn't always listen to everything everybody says. She does her thing. So
she's got her way, and
exactly.
so it is what it is.
And I think we all do. So I just hope that we start to kind of break free of this men versus women thing and just realize that we've all got individual ways of running our businesses, of fishing when we're out there, spending our time on the water, and when it comes to relating to people overall.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think that's becoming more and more apparent as time goes by, that we all have a human nature, and it's the same human nature. And there are habits that some of us accumulate, that are somewhat gender specific, but then other people don't subscribe to that. They don't come from that past. So it is important to just take each person as they come, and take each client or each trip as it comes, and roll with what happens. So,
well, one thing I say is, like, being a guide, I feel we have to play Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It's like, what personality is going to come out today just to match with your client? And,
right.
Deb, you probably know, you got people who want, chatty Cathy all day. So yeah, you got to be chatty. Then they're like the mutes that don't say anything, and you're like pulling teeth. So you're like, okay, now I got to be like, let's ask a million questions, Moe.
Right.
And so it's fun every day, the different personalities that, come out, and then it kind of brings personalities out in you that you're like, wait, I am kind of funny, or, or I can be an asshole. And so that's like part of guiding people don't talk about, is like, who were you today?
Yeah.
You wear different hats.
Thank you both for joining me. Thanks, Moe. Thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Chris Woodward. I'm executive editor for Sport Fishing. Have a great day.